Okay, now let's just get everyone back here. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing? Any feedback? Anyone have any opinions? Anyone, how are you guys doing out there in cyberspace? I hope you guys are doing okay. I know this material, it can be heavy at times. But just remember, I've taught this course a number of times, and it is heavy. You know what I mean? Like, you're getting hit like this with all this new information. But remember, the course, the test, the evaluation, it's open book. Okay, so like next week there, when your quiz one opens, you will have read chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4 in the textbook. Okay, and then you will have known the PowerPoints for chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. You've watched the videos. The test is open for a week, so you can dig around, take your time, do 5 questions here, 7 questions there tomorrow, and you plug away at it. Now, as I said, will these quizzes always be open for a week? No. Okay, but the first couple ones there, they'll be open for, and for the most part, for the remainder of the course, that you will have considerable time. There will not be, there's no time where you have 3 hours to do it. That's it, 3 hours. No, life doesn't work like that. And that's not the point of this course. I want the material to stress you out, not the time that it takes to test the material. Because I know we have kids and family and lives, and you know what I mean? That's where I want to be, and I know that's where you guys want to be as well. So just keep plugging away at it, and if you can't make these Wednesday 9 a.m. classes, then don't worry about it. If the only time you can watch these vids is Wednesday night and Thursday morning at 3 a.m., well then go for it. As long as you get it, you understand the material, you're able to retain some of it. And I'm not saying you have to retain everything here after watching the video, because that's not the point of these tests. These tests there, you are meant to dig. Okay? That's what it is. You watch the videos, PowerPoints, read the chapters. Another great little tool, which I'll show you there in the right here. Now, am I screen saving? Am I sharing? Sorry, share. That's what I want. There we go. So here we're on to chapter 4, and this is cell metabolism. You remember the whole idea there that those mitochondria, right, the powerhouse of the cells, okay, these guys, this is where we're going to hang out, okay, and again, let's say on a test there you want to find out, maybe one of the questions there was what is the point of let's see here, let's go to, I don't know, let's just look for metabolism. Maybe one of the questions there is about metabolism. You remember that word there from last week? It's one of these all-encompassing words that just includes all of the chemical reactions going on at your body right now. Okay? Cellular metabolism. How your body is processing, making energy, creating it, storing it, these kinds of things. So maybe one of the questions there next week, oh my gosh, I think I just might do this, ask you a question on metabolism. So, and you don't know where it is and that you can't find it, you're stressing out. Have you guys ever heard of Control F? If you look on your computer, okay, hopefully there you guys have a laptop there or a desktop available. Okay, you'll see on the bottom left side of the keyboard there should be a CTRL, control. And if you hit that button, hold it down, and then hit F, what pops up here is the find prompt. And now you type in here, metabolism, and click find. Now this could be for a PDF document, a Word document, a PowerPoint, any type of document there that you have. You can now search the entire document for that word. Okay, so there's metabolism there, metabolism, metabolism, metabolism. I just keep hitting next, 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 and then you see there's no more, right? So that will tell you that Control F will assist you greatly in digging through PowerPoints in a testing situation. See, I am on your side. Okay, so that's Control F. Practice it a couple times there before you use it, eh? All right, so here we go. Chapter 4, cell metabolism. And this is the last unit that we will cover that will be on your quiz next week. Okay, so there's you'll see in the file folder there's a practice test within there for Chapter 4 on Blackboard. So next week there, your quiz will open on Blackboard, and I'll tell you guys all about that, so don't worry about that. But it'll be open there for the week, so you have lots of time. Use your Control F, PowerPoints, vids, you'll be laughing. Okay? All right, let us go. How's everyone doing? Does everyone have any questions? If you do, just shout it out. All right? So, we're going to look at metabolism, anabolism, and catabolism. A lot of isms. Explain the use of carbs in the body. All right? We're going to differentiate between anaerobic and aerobic metabolism. Aerobic, with oxygen. Anaerobic, no oxygen. And I want you guys to think of like the difference. You think they're a 100-meter sprinter and a 400-meter sprinter. Okay? They're both sprinting. They look very much the same sports. But au contraire, mon frère, they are not. Completely different processes as far as making energy goes. And we'll talk about that. Explain the use of fats in the body, the use of proteins, describe the role of DNA, RNA in protein synthesis. Remember those ribosomes? They're all coming back. Let's go. So, metabolism. The series of chemical reactions necessary for the use of raw materials. Okay? And there's anabolism. These are reactions that build larger molecules. You take smaller ones, make bigger ones. Catabolism is the opposite, where you're taking big molecules and breaking them down into their smaller constituents. So metabolism, all chemical reactions going on. Anabolism, we're building bigger molecules from smaller ones. Catabolism, you're taking big molecules and breaking them down. And here's a little graphic here that kind of explains it a lot better, right? So the whole idea here, there we've got, here's your amino acids. These are the basic building blocks there of protein. We add energy. Remember, where did I get that ATP from? The mitochondria from the banana I ate. So take smaller bits with energy. I make bigger molecules. And just going back here, you'll see anabolism. Reactions that build larger, more complex substances from simpler substances. Okay, so that's anabolism. And you'll see here catabolism here, where you take big proteins, big molecules, and start slicing them up, breaking them down, and look, we get our energy back again. Ha-ha. And this is what we do there with our when we eat things, right? Eat that banana, that cheeseburger, whatever. We get these big, massive protein molecules there, and we break them up, and we're able there to get the energy from them. And now we have the basic building blocks there that we can take these amino acids and make our own muscle from them. Okay? So that is metabolism, anabolism, and catabolism. Carbohydrates. Carbs, for short. These are organic compounds composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. You can have monosaccharides, and just be clear, saccharide is just another word for sugar. So monosaccharide is a single sugar, glucose. Okay, this is what our body utilizes right here to break to the main source of energy. Okay, You can have disaccharides, which are two sugars linked together. An example there is sucrose. All right. And we have polysaccharides. These are many sugars that are linked together. Okay, starch, rice, potatoes, tree bark is another polysaccharide. Okay, there's just one there that we can't digest. Okay, so you have mono, di, and polysaccharides. And just some, these are just some examples here of monosaccharides. There's glucose, most important for energy source. Fructose, converted there to glucose. Galactose gets converted there to glucose. So everything, all these there, they get converted to glucose so that we can break them down. Deoxyribose. You see that os, 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 os? There you're talking sugar, right? So a carbohydrate, which is sugar anyway. Deoxyribose, this is sugar there for DNA. You have ribose there, sugar there for RNA, which we haven't really talked about, but we will. Okay? It's the flimsy paper bag copy of a stretch of DNA that codes for protein. So the DNA never leaves the nucleus. That's its home, stays there. But if I need to make a copy of a certain segment of that DNA because I got protein that needs to be made over in the ribosomes, I make a copy of it. And this copy is RNA. It's a flimsy paper bag copy that travels outside, and we make proteins from it, and then after that, it gets the chomp. Okay? We've got sucrose. These are disaccharides. Maltose, lactose. Where does lactose come from? Milk, right? So you have sucrose, which is glucose and fructose. Maltose, which is glucose and glucose. Lactose, which is glucose and galactose. These are just different kinds of sugar and different combinations that go together. So this is table sugar right here, sucrose. It's glucose and fructose together, disaccharide. So that sugar there you're putting in your coffee, it's a disaccharide. Okay. Polysaccharides, these are those many sugar chains. So you have a sugar, or you have like a glucose, and it just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. You have this long chain. Remember there last week I said if you chew on a piece of bread for 5 minutes, okay, it's just glucose monomers, monosaccharides that are just linked together. And if you keep chewing that piece of bread in your mouth, the enzymes in your mouth will start to break those starch molecules down into their monosaccharides. Okay, and that's why a piece of bread, if you keep chewing it, it will stay sweet, or it'll start to turn sweet. Glycogen is another polysaccharide. Okay, and this is how we store glucose. Remember, we can store sugar, we can store fat, you can't store protein. Okay, so glycogen, this is how we store sugar, animal starch, excess glucose stored in the liver, and skeletal muscles. Okay, so our muscles have a sugar reserve. It's not inexhaustible, but you see, our muscles actually have their own version of blood, hemoglobin. It's called myoglobin. So our muscles have an oxygen reserve and a sugar reserve. Okay, now think 100-meter sprinter. By the end of that 100 meters, that person there, their muscles have run out of oxygen and sugar. All right, 400-meter sprinter, it's a different ball game, right? They have to push back. They have to push beyond 100 meters, so they go into what's called oxygen debt, and they start. Your body forces you to get more oxygen in. Aerobic, anaerobic. We're going to get into all this stuff here. Cellulose here. This is non-digestible. Okay, by humans, this is tree bark. We also know it as fiber, right? Fiber is good for your GI tract. It keeps all the food, food moving. You have regular bowel movements there. Cellulose is very good for our body. We don't digest it as a food source, though. Okay, rabbits, cows, all those types of creatures there, they can digest cellulose. Uses of glucose, burned immediately as fuel. If we ingest too much glucose, okay, our blood sugar spikes, okay, our pancreas releases insulin, and the cells will absorb this excess glucose into the cells. We can store sugar or glucose as glycogen in the liver and burn it as fuel later on. And you think, why would your muscles have a small storage of oxygen? Why would your muscles have a small storage of glucose? And you have to think evolutionarily, if there's a dinosaur or a raptor or a wolf or something there that just all of a sudden pops its head and it's going to eat you, well, you better get out of there quick. Of course, there's always someone's cutting the grass. That's perfect. There we go. Okay, so you have if our lives are in danger, and I mean like right now, all of a sudden, there's a threat to my life, I need to be able to run away from that. Well, where are you going to get the energy from? Where are you going to get that oxygen from? Your body has a short supply in the muscles that'll get you out of danger. Okay? The breakdown of glucose, there's two ways. Okay, there's what we call anaerobic catabolism. Anaerobic, no oxygen. We can break down sugar without oxygen. We get a little bit of ATP. It works pretty well. Okay, but you see, if you break down oxygen in your sugar there if you break down the glucose there without oxygen, you get lactic acid, and it's that stiffness there in the muscles there that happens. Okay, if you break down glucose in the presence of oxygen, wow, you get so much more ATP. We'll show you this there. So this is where we want to be. But sometimes it's not. And we'll show you this right here. You look at where we're at here. Okay? The cytoplasm, this is in the cell matrix. This is the cytoplasm. This is what happens here. And here I am in the mitochondria. There's two different places right here. And you'll see there that anaerobic catabolism, so without oxygen, we don't get a lot of ATP. You don't. Okay, and it's troublesome. It really is. It's not a great way to make energy. You eat that banana, okay, and you're making ATP without oxygen, okay, which it happens normally. We get a little bit of ATP. Holy crap, man. I never get any phone calls, only when I'm teaching. I swear to God, it's ridiculous. And man, but if we break down, okay, glucose in the presence of oxygen, you'll see right here, it's the same thing. With no oxygen, we get 2 ATP, but in the presence of oxygen, look how much ATP we can make. So it's absolutely beneficial for our bodies there to be in this kind of stasis. Okay, where we have the oxygen readily available. And we'll show you this there in a little bit. So the making of glucose, the body must have a constant supply of glucose for fuel. Glucose can be made from non-carbohydrate sources. Like glucose we need for energy. Fat we can change into glucose, but protein, we can change protein into a usable form that we can break down. This is called gluconeogenesis. Great word there. Love that word. You'll see it again for sure. This is where we make glucose from non-glucose sources, such as protein. Protein is a tough one. The body will utilize sugars first, and then once all the sugars are gone, then the body will go after fats. And then once all the fats are gone, then the body will go after muscle. Okay, it'll go after protein. You don't get a good return on your money as far as energy goes because protein has nitrogen, and nitrogen is a pain in the butt to break down. Okay? Gluconeogenesis, making protein from non-glucose sources. Fats, lipids, okay? This is the biological word for fats, okay? Lipid is an organic compound commonly called fats or oils, most common triglycerides. Phospholipid, we've already seen that, cell membranes, okay? Steroids, hormones. Some of these are fat or cholesterol based. Other relatives of lipids there, we have what we call lipoid substances. And you'll see these, this is a typical triglyceride right in here where you have what's called a glycerol backbone, and you have these tails. You saw those tails there if you go back and look at the cell membrane. Remember, you have those hydrophilic heads that love the water, and then you have those hydrophobic tails inside the cell membrane. Well, that's what's going on here. That's the fat constituent, okay? Here's your phospholipid, and if this is your membrane there, and then here is your typical steroid cholesterol hormone. And you'll see that these 4 rings right here, this 6-carbon, 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 and a 5-carbon ring there, that is your cholesterol backbone. That is cholesterol. Cholesterol's got a bad rap, okay? Please consult your doctor before doing anything or suggesting anything there that I say. But the cholesterol has a bad rap. We need cholesterol. Hormones. Our organs sit on fat. Our brain is mostly fat. Okay, so we do need fat. The use of lipids there, source of energy, massive return on our money. Okay, components of cell membranes and myelin sheaths. What's a myelin sheath? Neuron. Okay, you know, it's a fatty layer that covers a neuron, nerve cell. White matter, dark matter, that is your white matter, these myelin sheaths. We'll get there. Synthesis of steroids, hormones, long-term energy storage. Love handles, my love handles. Okay, that is my long-term energy storage, right? Winter's coming. Good and bad cholesterol. There are good and bad kinds, okay? There's very low density lipoproteins, what we call VLDL. These contain mostly triglycerides, transport triglycerides to adipose tissue. Adipose is another word for fat. So if I say adipose tissue on a test, adipose means fat, okay? LDLs, low density lipoproteins. Cholesterol is the core lipid. Role deliver cholesterol to non-hepatic tissue. Liver. Hepatic, liver. High density lipoproteins. Cholesterol is the core lipid. Role carrying cholesterol from peripheral tissues to the liver for excretion. When we get into the liver there, you'll see there's about 25 to 30 different functions that the liver does. It is a crazy important organ. Everything there that we eat it, our stomach breaks it down, it gets absorbed by the small intestine, and the food goes from the small intestine, not into the blood, it goes directly to the liver. Nothing we ingest bypasses the liver, per se. Okay, everything gets inspected basically by the liver, filtered, detoxified, and you see that's the trouble. If the more toxic materials you ingest, like alcohol, drugs, bad food from McDonald's, or all these with trans fats, the liver absorbs it and it stays in the liver. And so we've all heard of a fatty liver, alcohol liver, cirrhosis of the liver. That's the damage caused by increasing your toxic food intake, right? Proteins, most abundant organic matter in the body, okay, participates in every single body function. Now we can store sugar, we can store fat, you can't store protein, right? So proteins here, you need a continual source for enzyme function, hormone function, hemoglobin, here we're talking blood, muscle protein, plasma proteins. Okay, your immunoglobulins there. Okay, antibodies for disease prevention, structural proteins, all this. Okay, The building blocks of protein, these are what we call amino acids. So the whole idea, one amino acid plus another, plus another, plus another, plus another, and then do that 300-400 more times. Now you have this protein that has a function. Okay? You'll see there that all amino acids have this amine group. This is a base. And then it'll also have an acidic group on the other side. So these molecules are very, very unique. They have an acid on one side, a base on the other. Okay? And you join one amino acid to another by what's called a peptide bond. Okay? You have one amino acid here and you want to link these two together. Well, you suck out a little water molecule from these two guys, and all of a sudden a bond is formed. And then do the same again, and now you have the beginnings of a protein molecule. Essential and non-essential amino acids. I'm not going to ask you to name any type of amino acids. That's not the goal of this course here. But there are amino acids that are essential, and there are those there that are non-essential. Some the body makes, some doesn't. We need to acquire them. Okay, you guys would know there. Thanksgiving is coming up. The amino acid there that's in turkey is tryptophan. Makes you sleepy. That's why you get sleepy after eating turkey. Well, it could be because I eat 2 kilograms of food for Thanksgiving, but that's fine. So essential amino acids must be included in the diet. Non-essential, the body can synthesize these as needed, but both are needed. Okay. Use of proteins, synthesis of hormones, enzymes, antibodies, muscle protein, hemoglobin, if needed, can be broken down as a source of energy for ATP, but not a good source of energy at all. Okay, because of the nitrogen that is in these guys. Okay, you see that nitrogen right there? That one there is why protein is not a good food source. Okay, great structurally, for bones, tendons, ligaments, eyelashes, hair, toenails, it's great. But for a food source, no. Okay, where'd I go here? If needed, can be broken down and converted to glucose through that process there, gluconeogenesis, making glucose from non-glucose sources. It's a last resort. Okay. Urea, the elimination of nitrogen. There's that nitrogen again. That's the problem, right? Nitrogenous waste products of amino acid breakdown. Okay, so most nitrogen is recycled for new amino acid production. Okay, extra nitrogen forms toxic. So I'm just going to do that there. Forms toxic ammonia. Okay, the liver removes this ammonia, okay, from the blood and converts it to urea. And then the kidneys will excrete the urea out the ureter and out the out. Okay, so you have a look here. Amino acids. Okay, we break those down, and the byproduct of that is urea. And there's a urea molecule, carbon with an oxygen, and then you have these two amine groups on the side. Okay, and then that goes to the kidneys where it is then excreted. Okay. And you see this one here is a little nicer one here. It's not as long as the last one there, but nucleotides and nucleic acids. Okay, here we're talking about DNA. These nucleotides are composed of a sugar. There's your sugar. This is DNA, right? This is our blueprint. Okay, and there is your sugar. And there is a phosphate group, and then there is a base. Okay, and there are 4 bases. All right, adenine, thymine, these two always go together. Guanine and cytosine, these ones here all go together. Our whole DNA, billions and billions of years of genetic evolution, trial and error, some creatures making it, some creatures don't. All of our DNA is only composed of 4 different bananas. That's it. And these 4 different bases in particular combinations, our body is able to not only store but retrieve that information to make proteins using these 4 bases. There's the language of the DNA. So there's your DNA and RNA composed of nucleotides. So base pairing, as I just said, adenine always goes with thymine. I'm just going to put that down a little bit so we can see what's going on. Silliness. So you'll see here that adenine, this base always goes with that base. I'll zoom in. Sorry, what just happened? Why is it doing that? There we go. You'll see here that your adenine always goes with thymine. That's it. It never goes with the cytosine, doesn't go with the guanine. A and T, T with A. That's it. G with C, C with G. Cytosine goes with guanine. And in this way here, we're able to create a language of DNA that can not only be read, but stored and retrieved whenever needed. Okay. The basic sequencing of the genetic code, the genetic information for protein synthesis is stored on one strand. Order of 3 bases codes there for 1 amino acid. So you'll see there that an amino acid will be read, stored, and retrieved as 3 bases. And what I mean by 3 base pairs. So I need 1 base pair, another base pair, and another one there, and we'll get a 3-letter triplet codon. And that just means that we're able to make an amino acid from those 3. And depending upon the combination, it could be ACC, that will code for a particular amino acid. GCA may code for another one. It's just the language of the DNA. Now, mRNA. This is that flimsy paper bag copy. You go back to your DNA, which stays in the nucleus, doesn't move out. Okay? And how do we get that information outside of the nucleus? Well, if I need to, there's a particular stretch of the DNA that codes for a particular protein there for my toenails. Well, then we go in there and we read it. We scan only that particular section of the DNA. You remember how big that molecule was, right? And if we only need this section, well, then this section will open up. The rest of it will not. And so we read this section of the DNA and we make a flimsy paper bag copy of that section, which then travels outside of the nucleus to the ribosomes, where it's read and an amino acid is added to another amino acid, which is added, and eventually there we make the protein, right? So mRNA uses base pairing to copy the code of a DNA strand. We call this their transcription. Reading of the DNA to make an mRNA copy. This mRNA then detaches and leaves the nucleus and goes to the ribosomes in the cytoplasm. Okay, so the mRNA is just a copy of that particular stretch of DNA. Okay, which then travels outside of the nucleus where it is read by ribosomes and the appropriate protein is made. Okay. tRNA. This is the whole process of the mRNA going through and being read. Okay, it's tRNA is reading the mRNA code, and then depending upon what it says, then it will grab the appropriate amino acids and stick them on there. And then as the mRNA travels through, it's reading it again. It'll grab another amino acid, put it on there. So now we have 2 amino acids linked together. And as the mRNA travels through, it's reading it, it'll grab another one, and another one, and another one. Keep moving on until we have our protein. Okay, so tRNA connects to a single amino acid in the cytoplasm, reads the code on the mRNA. This is translation. Making the mRNA, reading the DNA, that is what we call transcription. Reading the DNA and making an mRNA copy. That mRNA copy travels outside the nucleus, okay, where it is read and the protein is made, 1 amino acid at a time. This is called translation, where you're taking the original DNA information and now you're making the protein. Okay? Amino acids are correctly aligned to form peptides, which is another word there for protein, smaller proteins, and the protein itself. Okay? Recap here, genetic code and protein synthesis. DNA strand is copied into mRNA transcription. The mRNA leaves the nucleus and goes directly to the ribosomes, protein makers, right? The tRNA base pairs there with the mRNA, and it reads that mRNA and makes protein based on that. That is what we call translation. So transcription, reading the DNA, making an mRNA copy. Translation, reading the mRNA copy and making a protein from it. Amino acids line up in a proper sequence along the ribosomes. Peptide bonds form. The protein chain terminates when all the amino acids are assembled into sequence, and that protein is finished. Okay. This is just a nice shot of what's going on here, the whole idea. You'll see that, let me zoom in a bit here. Now, there's a stretch of, there's your DNA, and there's a stretch of it there that we need to make a protein. So that stretch of DNA and only that stretch opens up. And you'll see there that it is read and copied. And then after that, the DNA coils back up again and goes back to sleep. So now we're left with this mRNA copy of that particular stretch of DNA. Okay, that is transcription. And then that mRNA travels outside of the nucleus, okay, and travels to a ribosome. Okay, and then you'll see there that the tRNA, and that's these guys here, you see there that here's a ribosome, and you see there's your mRNA copy, right? Travels outside, there's your mRNA copy, and it goes in through like a stock market ticker tape, and it's being read. 3 base pairs at a time, right? There's your 3, CGU. All right, and it reads this, okay, and the appropriate amino acid is added. And then as it travels through, there's another triplet codon there that's read. It's reading this. Oh, okay. So AGC, that means that this is the amino acid for cysteine. And I'm not asking you for any amino acid names and these kinds of things here. And what happens there, as that mRNA travels through, these 2 amino acids get linked. And it still travels through, and the next triplet codon will, and you see, it's already getting it ready to go. Okay, so, and 1, 2, 3, these amino acids get linked, and eventually there, as the mRNA travels through, the protein gets made. Okay, peptide bond begins to form, and then a complete protein is created. So this is transcription. This is translation. I'd write that one down. So that is all we've got there for today. And sorry, that's all we've got. There's a lot of information there. So what I'd like you guys to do is just go back. If you haven't read the chapters yet, go and have a read of them. They're interesting stuff. Try the practice quizzes. There's chapter 3 practice quiz. There's chapter 4 practice quiz. Go over the PowerPoints. Just plug away at it there this week. And I'll see you guys next week there for chapters 5 and 6. Okay, which we're starting to move on now. We're into the kind of the small stuff, but we're in the direction of the macro. We're growing bigger every week. Next week there we get into a little bit of cytology and tissue study. And after class there next week, your first quiz will open, where it will be open for 7 days. So you'll have lots of time. I don't want you guys to stress. Just keep on doing what you're doing. You're doing great. Proud of you. Keep me posted if there's any issues. You guys have my email address. Let me know. Are there any questions? I'm going to stop recording, okay? Or maybe I won't. I don't know. Does anyone here have any questions there that they want to ask? Is there anything there about the test, quiz? And again, I don't want you guys to stress, okay? You just got to keep at this stuff. Do not let it slide. You sat through this whole horrible presentation. Now, don't let it fade to black. You've got it here. Everything I've talked about, you'll see on the quiz there next week in some type of degree, okay? But I want you guys to go back and don't keep this stuff in here. You don't have to memorize anything. You just have to know where to find it, okay? So you want to organize your chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 into an individual file folder so that you guys can know where to dig through things, because you're going to have to dig. And you might even have to dig through the textbook as well. Okay? These tests aren't crazy tough, but they will test you on the information. And I see I've got a question there. That's good. But remember, you don't have to memorize any of this. You just got to know where to dig. And using that Control F function, okay, will assist you. All right? Now, let me see here. We've got some, why can't, I'm going to stop sharing for a second here. This is kind of screwing me up here. There we go. Okay. So where are my questions? I see them there. Oh, good question. Is there unlimited attempts? No. There is one attempt only. Okay? As I said, you can start the test whenever you want. The only thing that matters is that by, let's say I open up Wednesday afternoon, you'll have until Tuesday midnight. So that gives you, 6 days, 7 days, okay? So you can stop and start the test whenever you want. Go back to it, the kids are screaming, I need some chocolate milk. Okay, then you stop the test. It will save everything. Do not click submit, okay? And it'll stop it, it'll save everything, and then you go back, all your answers are there again. You can go back to question 2, go to question 43, you can go back, do whatever you need to do, but that's it, okay? So there's only one attempt, all right? Thanks, Avneet. Wondering what type of questions there will be on the quiz, multiple choice, open question, true, false. I tend to keep it multiple choice and true, false, okay? They tend to work well, but do not take them lightly, okay? And because some of them there can be confusing. And you have to think that where we're going, this isn't normal street conversation. Not even close. This is education. We are getting into the whole idea of anatomy and physiology. We are not dealing with stuff there that people normally talk about. So you're going to see as the weeks go on, you will bend. And it's called learning, and it's all growth. Don't worry, you're in good hands, okay? So multiple choice, true and false. Are we going to get multiple choice? Yes. Okay, thanks, Sonia, for that. Thanks, Tally, for that. Nicole, can any of the slides be made printable? I think all the slides are printable, right? Can't you print the slides? Let me know if you can't. They should be printable. Okay, but oh, hi.
Hi, it's Nicole. No, sorry, I can't print any of the slides.
You should be able, you can download the slides, right?
That is a good question. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, you should be able on the function there on Blackboard. Well, let's go and have a look, shall we? So you'll see here, I'll just go to student preview because this is what y'all see. And so this is what you guys should be seeing on your Blackboard. A little different from mine, but you go into weekly, and there's week 2, and then week 3, and then chapter 3. And you should be able to download original file. There you go, Nicole. Okay, let me know if you have any issues with that. But once you've downloaded them, you should be able to print. And Nicole, I get what you're saying. I can't stare at a computer screen for hours on end. I get fly eyes, right? And I like to read. I like paper copies. I'm a tactile learner. I like to have a piece of paper in my hand. So you should be able to download that, and then downloading it, and then you see right in there, you click on there, and away you go. How's that, Nicole?
Yes, I figured it out. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, no, you're awesome. Thank you for asking. And I need you guys to know that the there are no silly questions in my class. Oh, you can't see my screen? You guys couldn't see how to download that? Okay, sorry. Then I will, sorry, thank you for that. So let me go to here. So now I'm sharing, sorry. Okay, so, I'm trying to get that out of the way. There we go. So, this is what you guys see right here. And thank you for letting me know that you guys couldn't see. So this is what your student preview right here. You go into weekly. There's your week 2, week 3. You go into your week 3 or chapter 3 folder. And then you'll see over here there that you can click on this and you can download the original file. And it just clicks right in there. You'll be able to download it so you'll have your own. You guys need to have your own copies because you guys are going to be playing and digging through these like a needle in a haystack, which is, the whole point of the course. Okay, so please make sure that you guys have e-copies of those. If you need paper copies, and print them off. Do whatever you need. I don't care what you do, how you learn, just as long as you learn. And if you need help with how you learn, I can help with that. There's individual learning, there's social learning, there's tactile learning where you need a piece of paper, auditory, visual. There's all these different styles of learning. If you need help in deciphering how you learn best, shoot me an email. We'll have a WebEx and we'll get you going. Okay? I think you guys are awesome. You guys get out there, fight for your lives, study, and have some fun there this week. I guess this will be our last week of summer. I think it's supposed to be 26, 27, 28, all this coming weekend and even next as well. So get out, get some vitamin D, and enjoy your day. Thank you, guys. And if you have any more questions, let me know. Shoot me an email, and we'll get it all going. Okay? Thank you so much. You guys take care. And I'm going to stop the video now. But if you guys need anything, I'm always available. Okay? Bye, guys. Thank you.